Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. We have a roll call, please.
Maria Mills-Benet.
Here.
Bo Bofamy.
Here.
Tom Jordan.
Here.
Lance Green.
Here.
Newton White.
Here.
Stan Schmidt.
Here.
Chair John Junko.
Here. Consideration of minutes, please.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Maria Mills-Benet.
Yes.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Chair John Junko.
Yes. Okay. First item number 4, application special exemption, 5404 South Williamson Boulevard, case number 21-70000001. Okay.
Chris Carson, Planning. The applicant has applied for a special exception to operate a mini warehouse facility within the workplace district of the Plant Community Agriculture Zoning District. It's had that use since 2002. If approved, the applicant does intend to submit a site plan to establish a mini storage facility on a 2.3 acre site located on the south side of Williamson Boulevard between the Springs at Port Orange Apartments and White Palm Apartments. And the site plan will be required to meet all requirements of the Land Development Code. The proposed use is estimated to generate 210 daily trips. That's actually one of the least traffic generators compared to other allowable uses in the zoning district. You can see table 1 of your staff report. And capacity does exist on Williamson to capture these trips. Access to the proposed site will be provided along the existing emergency access only drive, which serves the Springs at Port Orange Apartments and White Palm. The access drive is a full access drive, so the proposed is to keep the gates emergency access only, and that's to limit the traffic entering and exiting the site. And it also provide no changes to the emergency access vehicles. This is a proposed rendering of the site. It is different than the elevation provided in your staff report, but it still does meet all the architectural requirements of the Land Development Code. There are 3 other storage facilities within the 1 mile of the subject property, but the applicant has just done an internal market analysis to show the feasibility of the subject property. And in conclusion, the applicant has demonstrated that they are able to meet all special exception development requirements, and that they will be able to meet all Land Development Code requirements. Staff does recommend approval, and the applicant is here to answer any questions for you today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Lance, do you have any questions?
No, not yet.
Newton?
Nope, not yet.
Stan?
I'm good for now. I'm fine.
Tom? Well, you're saying it before I even get to. Bo, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Maria?
I'm good for the moment.
Yes, so am I. Would the applicant like to come up here? Please state your name and address, please.
For the record, my name is Mark Doust. I'm a project engineer with the firm Mark Doust & Associates. And also with me tonight is our whole team. First we have Hugh Horn. He's with Horn Partners, LLC. And he is probably the most experienced self-storage developer I've ever worked for. So if you have any questions on self-storage, he's the one to ask. We also have Arch Trulock, who is our architect. Jeff Elkels, who's in charge of acquisitions. And then we also have Nick Judy, who is the contractor for the project. I'd like to start out by thanking staff. I always ask a ton of questions as I'm preparing an application, and Penny has been fantastic. I don't know how many questions I asked her, but she responded typically within a day every time, and that really helps us develop a good package. This site was selected because the demand is there. It's all the facilities in the area are pretty much almost full. Rates are going up. We are still constructing more and more smaller type of housing, which just increases the demand for these further. This particular location is good because it's on Williamson Boulevard, has a high trip count, so it's got good visibility. And it's also next to apartments and makes a very good use next to residential because it's a very quiet use. Other things that could go here could be, I think, a motor court, restaurants, I think, is allowed. So there's a lot of other types of uses which, if you lived right next to them, you might not really appreciate. But this is a very quiet use, so we think it's ideally suited for the location. It's also, as mentioned by Chris, a very low traffic generator, and I think that's important to consider. As I mentioned, we have our whole team here, so if you have any questions of me or our team, we'd be more than happy to answer that.
Maria, would you like to start off?
I'm okay for now.
Bo?
Yeah, I'm curious, how do you determine demand?
Mm-hmm. I think I might bring Hugh up to answer that question because he's the expert on that, right?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Hugh Horn. I live in office in Austin, Texas. I have worked, though, in Florida for 41 years, I think, in all the largest cities and counties. And it's a pleasure to be here. Our objective here, and I'm certainly going to answer the question, but our objective is we have designed and intend to build a property that not only we'll be proud of, it'll serve your community. We want you to be very proud of it also. So we welcome the opportunity to be here and visit with you. As far as determining demand, the industry now is about 55 years old. It's not a new industry anymore. And it's been extremely successful because, notwithstanding the wonderful residences that are built today, we never have enough space in homes for storage. And approximately 85% of the users of self-storage are individuals to begin with, about 15% businesses, but over time, the business user increases because they stay longer, and so that ratio changes. But the fact of the matter is that in the United States, we simply don't have enough room for storage in our homes. And so how we measure that basically is by square footage per capita. That's one way to measure it. In this market, there's about 9 square feet per capita, and that's about the average in the United States. But what proves that there's more demand than supply is that of the 7 properties that are within 3 miles of us, 6 of the 7 have occupancy levels above 95% with increasing rental rates, and the other one that's 80% is less than a year old. So it's just proof positive that there is more demand.
Is there population numbers that are considered when you do that?
Yes, sir. And we want to be in densely populated areas and areas where the economy is strong, people have good jobs, and so forth. So, yes, all demographics are important.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You done, Bo?
Yes.
Tom?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Stan?
So this facility will be all just storage units? There won't be open spaces for boats and RVs?
This is all self-storage, yes, sir, fully self-contained.
That's my question right now.
Nick?
You got my question.
Mine's for Mark. Thank you, though, Hugh. I appreciate it. Mark.
Thank you very much.
A couple questions I got for you, I guess, is going to be
Certainly.
back to the traffic.
Okay.
And that's my main thing is the ingress and the egress on here is in a kind of an odd spot because it's where the road widens. It's where U.S. Foods goes in. And have we done traffic analysis as far as that entrance point being there, or should it be up the street or down the street?
Yeah. Well, this particular driveway was permitted when the apartment complexes went in, and this parcel was actually platted for development. And they considered up to a lot higher users, like I mentioned, the other users that are allowed on the list. Self-storage is probably the lowest user you could possibly put here. I think our average daily trips are like 210. But even though the driveway exists and it is the lowest generator, we still have to refresh we call it refreshing the permit with the county. So the county has another chance to look at it and see if they see any issues. But we don't expect any issues, and primarily because the trip generation is just so low for this use.
Okay, so then the emergency access roads will just never be used? It's strictly that, it's just
Yeah, that's interesting because that drive around there is stabilized. There's actually emergency access gates on both sides.
Right.
And it's platted, and that's how it's set up. So we don't get to use those. We have to use the access out the front.
Okay, yeah, that's all I got on that. It's just basically the entrance, but, all right,
Thank you.
thank you, Mark.
Good. I don't have a survey straightforward, so I'm using your color samples. The green areas that you're showing there parallel to Williams, that's a vegetation buffer, correct?
That is correct. Approximately 45% of the site is green.
Okay, the tree line by the Williamsons for the apartments, will there be a change of landscaping, or is your intention to have something that kind of meets the apartments, that kind of looks like it blends in as you're driving by Williamson's?
So on Williamson, I believe you have a 50-foot buffer,
Mhm.
and so there's requirements and standards
Right.
in there. And if you went out there today, you would see a buffer that's actually already planted there. That was deficient, okay? I think it was kind of a holding pattern when they built the apartments, so we have to enhance that. The apartments actually had a lot of existing trees to work with. So
Right.
they didn't really have to plant a lot. We have to plant a lot more trees.
Okay, so there'll be some kind of a tree vegetation in there that may
Yes.
gradually blend in with
Cor-
the existing trees over time.
That is correct. It won't look like the big ones that are there because
Okay.
those were existing.
And then the vegetation to the side of the apartment complex, it looks like there was a carports in the apartment complex?
There is, there is carports on that
Those little
side.
mini storages for the apartments?
Well, what we have is, you see a lot of these storage facilities that have overhead doors on the outside.
Right.
This only has the doors where you bring it in, so we don't have the doors all the way around the building. That's why the building elevations look
Okay.
so clean. You're probably used to seeing a lot more doors.
Is there gonna be some kind of a fence in that perimeter between the apartment complex and the
There is a fence there now.
Uh-huh,
So there's a decorative fence and landscaping on the apartment side.
okay.
We have to add landscaping on our side. We can't landscape the drive that wraps around, but we landscape between the drive and our parking lot.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to come up here and speak? Nobody here? Okay, any more comments from our commissioners? No? Like to hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve case number 21-700-00001.
You hear a second?
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Maria Mills-Finay.
Yes.
Bill Wilkemy.
Yes.
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newman White.
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Chair John Junko.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
for your time, good presentation. Okay, item 5, application for variance in 1615 Spruce Creek Road, case number 21-90000007. Request by applicant for a variance from the Land Development Code to waive the requirement for a new development to construct a sidewalk along the adjacent right-of-way. All right.
Chris Carson Planning. The applicant is requesting a variance from Chapter 12, Section 8C of the Land Development Code to waive the minimum requirement that new developments must construct sidewalks along the adjacent right-of-way. The applicant did submit a site plan in June of 21 to develop the subject property with a 250-seat house of worship and associated site improvements. This is currently under staff review. And the church has also been operating under a conditional use development order since July of 2020. That allows the subject property to hold outdoor church services, and that's scheduled to expire July 21st of 22. If the variance request is approved, the property owner is proposing to not construct a sidewalk along Central Park Boulevard. According to the applicant, the site has been designed to minimize impacts to the specimen trees and the existing wetland on the east side of the property. And there's also an existing drainage swale along Central Park Boulevard that would be impacted by a sidewalk. There's also an existing sidewalk gap, and that's shown in on the red dotted line on the top right of the property. The adjacent property is zoned agricultural, and it has a single family home on it. Historically, the city has funded these sidewalk gaps using TPO funding. There's currently no plans to submit to be part of the prioritized project list to get this gap filled. And there's also no known request from the public to close this gap. And before I move forward, I just wanted to mention that the intent of the Land Development Code is to provide an interconnected network that provides travel and access options. And if the sidewalk along Central Park Boulevard was constructed as per code, the gap east of the site would still exist. So instead, the applicant intends to construct a sidewalk from the proposed building to the existing sidewalk on Spruce Creek Road, and that's that's mentioned by the dotted blue line. And the applicant does mention that this is where most of the residents come from, is from Spruce Creek Road. Going back to the overall network and connectivity, as you can see in this aerial, there are multiple other routes that residents can take, especially from the Oakland Park neighborhood. Alternate routes such as Newton Road, Oakland Park Boulevard, all exist. The applicant has also agreed to work with Public Works to install two yellow unsignalized pedestrian crosswalk signs. This graphic was just kind of to picture that the wetlands are very close to the right of way. A sidewalk, it would be something would have to be impacted, whether it be the trees, the wetland, or the existing drainage swale. This is the crosswalk in the existing condition, and this is the crosswalk if the applicant constructs the crossing signs. Overall, staff does recommend approval subject to the applicant funding and installing 2 pedestrian crosswalk signs as part of the site plan submittal, and the applicant is here to answer any questions you have.
Lance, do you have any questions?
I don't. I don't have any questions. I think this is a situation where we've talked about this property over and over and over, and about try to maintain some type of normalcy in that area. And I know that we've made some concessions about the upcoming building and grass parking lot, dirt parking lot, or whatever we can do to help keep the trees in that area and so on. And the other thing is, like, there's not any more houses being built down there, so we're not putting any more traffic on the sidewalk. The people who have been traveling down there have been traveling the same route for years now, so I don't think by putting in a piece of sidewalk there is going to benefit the public. And at the same time, I firmly believe that we can save a couple trees and some drainage issues and some other things along that little stretch, which I think is important. If that sidewalk was to go in there, I can assure you that it will flatten that whole right-of-way, and that whole right-of-way will be reconstructed to something that is, again, is it going to really benefit the public in the long run? But that's just my opinion on it.
Newton?
This is in my neighborhood, and I walk by there quite frequently, and I have to agree, I see no real need for the sidewalk to be there and disturb the drainage that's in the right-of-way and or on the property. Plenty of access. They'll have access from Spruce Creek side to the church itself. That's the only use that's going to be there that anybody would want to walk that way for anyhow. Very reasonable request. I don't have any problem with it at all.
Stan?
No, I don't see anything that I'm worried about either. I ride bicycle past there quite often. That's fine.
Okay.
Well, Chris, who's responsible for they're going to put in the markers on either side? Who's responsible for maintaining those or replacing them when they get damaged or removed or stolen? Or
So maintenance will be Public Works.
Okay. They just need to provide them one time.
Exactly, yeah.
We install them?
Yes.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'm a big fan of sidewalks, but in this case, it's kind of a special need where I don't want to wipe out good wetlands either. Thanks.
Bo? Maria?
I'm good.
Yeah, I concur with my fellow commissioners. And again, the main sidewalk was the one on Spruce Creek Road. It serves for purpose for buses and school, and the kids are always on those sidewalks waiting for the buses, and that's a heavy travel. But that little piece of road there, it doesn't need that at all, and I'm in full agreement with my fellow commissioners. Yeah, no, that's good. Is the applicant up? Would he like to say anything?
I'm happy to see you all.
Oh, okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak up? No? Very good. This is going very quickly. I like that.
Me too.
May we have, we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve case number 21-90000007.
Second.
What's her
Okay.
name?
We have a second.
Hold on, question on that. Is that, in here, I didn't see about the signage. Is it in this
Needs to be
language or is that
subject
a additional language?
Actually,
in
no, I
here?
should modify my amendment, or my motion, because, make a motion to approve, subject to the applicant funding and installing 2 pedestrian crosswalk signs as part of the site plan submittal.
Second.
Okay, all right. And we're still under, we have a second, and we have a motion and a second. Do we have a roll call, please?
Maria Mills Benet,
Yes.
Bo Bofamy,
Yes.
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Chair John Junko.
Yes. Congratulations. All right, we have item number 6, application variance for 79 Dunlawton Avenue, case number 21-90000008. Location is, again, 79 Dunlawton, and it is a request by the applicant for variances from the Land Development Code to reduce the front building setback, the drainage, the utility easement, parking space width, drive aisle width, the number of required parking spaces, landscape buffer width, vehicular use area and foundation landscaping. I didn't know it was gonna be this long.
Yeah, really.
And open space requirements for the property in the community commercial zoning district in the Port Orange Town Center Community Redevelopment Area CRA. Okay, I'm done with that.
I think you mentioned, you missed the part about the kitchen sink.
Yeah, I'm sorry about
Good
that.
evening, Penelope Cruz Planning. You could always just say the case number too.
I know. I'm gonna look at it
That's
before
long
I
enough
say
as
that.
it is, right?
When I turned the page, it was too late. I already committed, so I
Good job.
retracted.
What he said. So the subject property before you tonight is approximately 0.8 acres. It's on the north side of the Dunlawton Bridge, adjacent to the Halifax River in the Down Under district of the Port Orange Town Center redevelopment area. It has been developed for a very long time with another restaurant and a retail use that was recently demolished in August. The plans are to redevelop the property with Millie's Landing. Some of you may be familiar with Millie's Restaurant in Daytona Beach Shores. Recently voted number 8 fish restaurant in the United States.
What city was that in?
The city of Daytona Beach Shores.
I don't,
That's over the bridge.
Where's that at?
Way over.
But it's about to be
Never heard of
Port
it.
Orange.
Yes, yes. So they're looking to come to Port Orange. Different concept, a little bit big, waterfront dining. And part of that redevelopment concept is a 2-phase proposal. So the first phase would be to maintain the existing thatched pavilion, and then place a temporary kitchen and restroom facility so that they are able to open and get started with business this fall. Phase 2 would be to construct the permanent kitchen and bathroom facilities, still utilize the thatched pavilion for outdoor seating, also add additional outdoor seating in that area there where the deck is, and do the site improvements as far as additional parking and landscaping. So as we were looking at the concept plan, it shows that there would be about 9 variances that would be required for this concept to be developed. These variances that were discussed in the staff report in detail are very similar to other variances that have been approved in the Down Under district for other developments. And they're really, they came before Planning Commission the past few years, and really your approval of those prior variances on these other sites is really the key reason why that area has redeveloped recently and become a restaurant and entertainment destination for our city. And so very similar variances to that. Other thing I want to note is, in addition to the existing conditions on the site, one of the challenges that this site has is that they are looking to maintain 2 other existing businesses that have been there for a very long time as well. The existing commercial marina, it's the oldest historic working waterfront in the state of Florida, right there in the city of Port Orange. And also 2 Jerk Seafood. So those 2 businesses are still looking to be maintained there on the business, so that adds another level of challenge there. So like I said, the staff report went into a lot of detail on each of the variances. I'm just going to try to briefly cover them and then be here to answer any questions you have. I'm going to kind of group a few of them. The front building setback, the easement, the utility and drainage easement, as well as the roadway buffer there is really kind of one and the same. If you approve one, you have to kind of go with the rest of them. Really because of where they want to locate where they want to locate the temporary and the permanent kitchen, which is actually the exact location where the prior building was located. So the prior building that had been there for a very long time also had that 0-foot setback. So it's not an increase in any kind of deviation from the code. It's just because it's a new building, having to actually legally establish that variance. So because of that, they've asked for the variance for that roadway buffer there, for just that portion of the site, the front building setback, and a portion of the standard lot easement. The site currently doesn't have that lot easement at all. So they're looking to propose it on the majority of the site, but just this southwest portion. So when I say that they're all kind of one and the same, it's because of that location there. So that's why I'm kind of grouping those together. The other landscape variances that are requested are for building foundation and the vehicular use area. They've stated that they actually would like to try to put some building foundation plantings there, but to be able to have the flexibility, they're asking for the variance right now, but their intent is to try to put some foundation plantings there. They want it to look nice. The vehicular use, the parking lot landscaping, what's being proposed with the variance is actually a slight increase to what the current condition is. So with that, also the open space variance that they're asking for, again, oops, went too far. The open space variance that they're asking for, again, a variance for this request, but actually a slight increase to the current conditions that are out there. The next kind of grouping of variances that I'd like to discuss are with relation to the design and layout of the parking lot. So there's the request for the parking space dimensions, the 25-foot setback for the first parking space, and the drive aisles. The parking space dimension, again, a variance that's been approved for many of the businesses there in the Down Under. Also a very common parking space dimension throughout Port Orange in most of our PCDs, as well as many of the cities in the area. All the spaces are being shown to be 9 foot wide. More than half of them would meet the 20-foot standard length. They're asking for just 41%, 18 of them to be able to have a 19-foot length. Again, this 9 by 19 is pretty standard in most other cities in the area. And something that's been approved in other developments in the Down Under. And then the access drive, they're requesting for a 22 foot wide access drive. This is actually something that staff has the ability to approve administratively per the Land Development Code. We went ahead and threw it in with this bundle so you could get the big picture of what the ask was. But it is something that the code actually gives staff the ability to review and approve administratively. It's been reviewed by city staff, fire, engineering, everyone, and staff believes that there's going to be enough room for maneuverability for vehicles to access the parking and in and out of the parking space. The 25-foot setback to the first parking space, this is also a variance that's been approved for other developments in the Down Under. That's really a setback that's been established for parking lots that are located adjacent to roads with high traffic volumes, higher speeds. The access road here under the bridge really functions more like an access drive in a big parking lot. So we've found with other businesses here too that have received this variance that it's not really necessary to have that big setback. So they're asking for a 5-foot setback instead, just for those first 5 spaces there along the roadway. And the last one is the parking spaces. So they're requesting a variance for 53 of the required parking spaces based on the number of outdoor seats that are being proposed and the number of maximum number of employees in the largest shift. The applicant is stating that the additional 10 parking spaces that they are adding to the current parking lot, plus the availability of the shared parking in the Down Under, would provide enough parking for the proposed use. The other thing just to think about and note is that this location here in the Down Under is not just serving the residents of the city of Port Orange, and it doesn't function similar to, say, restaurants along Dunlawton where everybody's accessing it with their vehicles. So our parking standards don't always, they're kind of like, the day after Thanksgiving kind of standards. A lot of people in this area on the beach side that live in that area and frequent these restaurants, they actually access these restaurants down here with the street legal golf carts. They bike down there, they walk down there, the tourists as well. So residents and tourists in Daytona Beach Shores, unincorporated Volusia County, you know, they tend to access this area in other means as well. So just something to consider. So with that, staff is recommending approval. Actually, I'm sorry, I just want to go over this chart real quick. This chart here on the left shows the current situation before Millie's Landing with parking with the old prior restaurant, DJ's Deck, and the seafood retail, Two Jerk Seafood Retail Store, showing all the required parking, proposed parking, or available parking there, as well as their share of what's being utilized with that shared parking. And you can see here to the right with the variance request with Millie's Landing and what's proposed there, there's actually more parking available because of the additional parking that they're adding to their site. So staff looked at that. So into our considerations of our recommendation for this parking variance, we were only considering what's available on their site and the availability of the shared parking in the down under. So with that, we're recommending approval. Staff is here to answer any questions, and the applicant has a big team here with them as well that can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, you want to start, Lance?
So when you're calculating all of this, does this include the Two Jerks, and it includes the marina and the calculations of the parking requirements for all those, and this is what it comes down to? Okay, and then so who owns all the spaces under the bridge?
So the spaces that are in the shared parking, that's outside of the parcel that Our Deck Down Under owns, it's actually owned by Florida Department of Transportation, but the city of Port Orange has a long-term lease on it. We've had that long-term lease on it for several years now, and we continue to renew it, and we have the maintenance responsibility and enforcement responsibility down there.
Okay. No, that's all I have right now.
Newton?
I'm good.
Stan?
So just for clarification, when you're showing the parking spaces on, I think the one you've got up here now, so right now there's 2 cuts on it to Dunlawton, but this looks like there'll be a third one?
Yeah, so yes, because before this was a building right
Right, you
here.
had another building in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that crosshatch area, that's just a notation of a walkway? Is that kind of
Yes, because there's an accessible space right here, so that's
Yeah.
the accessible route.
All right, that's what I was just trying to figure out, because it's a little hard to see on the printed copy we had.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
That's it for me.
Good. Tom?
Yeah, Penny, thanks. Does your numbers include the parking spaces that are on the east end of this property, next or behind Jimmy Hula's there?
Right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, they do, because right now, if you can see on this aerial here, there's a bunch of their items stored right here.
Correct.
Yes, so those are going to be cleaned up, and they are going to be actually striped as parking spaces, and that outdoor storage won't be there. And the applicant can probably speak to that more, because they've committed to that. All that's going to move out because they're making some improvements to their other storage there. So those will be available for actual parking spaces.
Good. Okay. Your calculations that you showed on the table, I guess the before and after, that includes the 140 new seats that they want to add as well, but it's included as a 1-to-3 ratio?
No, it's calculated as a outdoor seating. Well, the 180, the existing under the thatch pavilion is the 1-to-3. The 140, because it won't have as good of protection from the elements, is calculated with that 50% multiplier because it's not able to fully be used all the time. And that's standard. That's how we calculate all outdoor seating that's not protected from the elements. Because if it's raining, if it's too hot, if it's too cold, you can't sit out there. Or people may choose not to sit out there.
Okay. All right. And then the other question I have is about this shuttle bus concept and the off-site parking for employees.
Yes, so
do we have anything in writing that they've proven they have agreements for this?
we do not, and the reason we didn't even ask, they asked for that, they mentioned that in their letters, so we mentioned it in the staff report, but staff did not utilize that as part of our recommendation. We were only going on what we physically can count right now, which is what's proposed to be provided on site, and the shared parking in the down under. If they have those agreements by the time they come in for their final site plan, and they are able to do that, that's just bonus, but we didn't use that, we didn't take that into consideration in these calculations.
Okay. But if we approve this, that would be allowed, just as is. We would be allowing them to have shuttle bus service between these two locations, off-site.
Yeah, it's kind of like a valet parking that businesses have all over, but we're not relying on that for them to meet their parking requirements.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Bo?
This is such a unique situation there, and I know that we have a lot of exceptions here, but the uniqueness of it really makes it feasible because of the low traffic speed, the amount of traffic you have in there, and as you mentioned, the the biking and the walking, and people riding golf carts. It's really hard to put a measurement or to calculate the need based on those that situation. And it is very unique. There's not a lot of space in there to make to add to the property, but I'm very much in favor of this thing. I think it's really something that continues to set us apart from other areas or other cities in the area. I do have one question here. You said the current code standards, when there's a change in the use of the property, just for my edification, what is the change in the use of the property? What does that mean?
There's not a change in use, but they're submitting a site plan for a new business. They demolished the other building, so in order for them to submit their site plan and us not say, oh, you have a 10-foot front building setback, they have to apply for this variance.
Okay. So use doesn't mean the actual.
Yeah, I mean, if
okay.
the existing structure that was there wasn't demolished and a new restaurant just went into that, you wouldn't need the variance because that existing building is still there. It's grandfathered in. But once the building gets demolished, you have to request the variance for the new building.
Thank you. Okay.
Maria?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. I think I really strongly agree with Bo. This is a unique piece of property. It's one of those you got to think out of the box to make this work. I love going there. I think Dunlawton Avenue has one of the lowest traffic. I mean, I'm happy to say going there when I go to Jimmy Hula's, I mean, your people walking up to the hot dog stand, getting hot dogs, walking up on bicycles. It's so casual, and it's out of the box, and it is a unique piece of property. The dock space, you said there's going to be 4 dock spaces in there?
Yeah, they have, and the applicant can speak to that a little bit more, but they have spaces that are reserved. Similar to our deck down under, they have a few spaces where you can pull up on your boat and jump out and grab lunch and head back out on the water.
All right, well then, I'll reserve that question for them. At this point, would the applicant like to come up?
Howdy. Pete Zahn, Zahn Engineering. And this is Chris Chabaro. I really want to thank staff for doing a superb job. Put it all together. There's really nothing for me to add to it. You all have, the restaurant you've eaten there, you know what was there before. So we were pretty well restricted with what was there. I would note that the easterly portion of this, we have a site plan that the city sent us where that had gone through some reviews and approvals before, and it's virtually unchanged. So that part we're not changing, but where we took the old bait shack out and the old restaurant out, all of that needed to be just reconfigured to work. So that's how we ended up where we are. and this is the guy with the vision, and the property owners, the two jerks, are right back there. They're the big guys on the
So
end.
rude.
And the synergy between this is that Two Jerks is bringing in the fresh fish, and he's a primary user of it. So if you know Millie's, you know that, in fact, we're going there tomorrow night, and that's what I'm going to have is fish. So I'll let you tell them what's going on with.
Absolutely. Again, just like Pete said, and again, I want to echo
Could
what
you
the...
state your name and address
Yep,
for
my
us?
name is Chris Chabaro, owner of Millie's Restaurant, and will be owner of Millie's Landing down there in Port Orange.
And address?
Address is 3106 Esperanza Avenue, Daytona Beach Shores. Not a Port Orange resident yet. But just like Pete said and the first gentleman said, I really wanted to echo how professional and how wonderful it's been to work with Penny, with Tim, with everybody that we've dealt with in Port Orange. You know, a lot of times when you come up to something where you need a lot of variances like this, you know, everybody tells you, oh no, you have to go, you know, before the board and things like that. But you know, the whole staff with the city has really been great that we've talked to. So thank you for that. The Freemans are here, and they are the property owners. Just as Penny said, you know, this has a lot of history down there on the docks, and they've been on the docks since 1988. Their family has, and has owned this property. And one of the biggest things that we want to do is we're proud of the work they do, and we know that the town's proud of the work we do. And I think it's about time that we highlight that and serve the fresh local fish. On a side note, you know, I'm not sure how much you know about the food world, but we're one of the only people in the county serving fish from this country. Totally. You know, some people have 50 pounds a week for specials and things like that. In our little restaurant, currently, we're going through 900 pounds a week of fresh local fish, and that's going into the thousands with this. And we want to celebrate that, and we want the city of Port Orange to have a place where they can tell people this is coming right into our port, right into our landing, and you can go watch it be showcased down there. Speaking of the 4 boat slips, they're not actually slips. There is a little part of a straight dock right there where currently charter captains come in during the day and drop people off and do that, and some of those will be available. Again, when you're talking about boats, 4 is a real relative number. You know, it's 1 giant one or 4 little ones, you know, so it does come to that. And I know that it really seems like we are, or we're, especially after hearing you read it, we're really asking for a lot, but it is a unique situation, and we could have easily kept that same building there, you know, or kept a portion of it and rebuilt on that. But the reality was that building was so old, it was a truly not a safe work environment in there, and it had been flooded 3 times. You know, so we wanted to move it back on the property to higher ground. We're also coming up to flood code on that. Or floodplain level on that. So we really feel like we're thinking outside of the box, but we're part of a solution, you know, and not part of a problem on here. And you know, personally, I just want to thank all of you for your consideration on this, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Lance, you want to start off?
No, I mean, samples would have obviously helped. But,
Right?
no, I mean, and Pete and I have known each other a long time. We've done a lot of things together, and Pete knows, you know, this is a unique piece, and obviously this is a laundry list of items. This building was a bait shack back before you tore down the other bait shack when I was a kid, and so I bought many a bait at that old building. But here's an opportunity for us to make this thing nice and right, and I'm sure you're going to put in the effort to make sure the building and the property is going to be,
it will be beautiful,
what it's expected in Port Orange, and that's why you hired Pete. So I'm okay with these things. I think this is going to be something that's going to help make this work and bring this to be a destination. Again, who would have ever thought that, you know, years back that it would be a hot spot, you know, in Port Orange hot spot. And so I welcome you to Port Orange, and hopefully you'll do it up right. And, you know,
we're excited.
And it'll all work out for you too if it's done right.
I think so.
That's all I got.
Yeah. I'm going to steal it back from Mr. Jordan down there, but the outside storage, the plastic containers and
Yes, those have already been removed.
That's always been an eyesore there at the old site, and it does take up the parking. And I know you're definitely going to do everything you can, because parking means people mean tickets, mean dollars.
There you go.
There's been a lot of improvements along the seafood
buildings and structures going in, so that's part of that as well.
Yeah, if you've not been down to Two Jerk Seafood since they swapped with King's, I highly suggest it. I mean, I know I'm a fish guy, but they take better care of their fish than anybody. But you walk into their facility and it's spotless, it's clean, it's, really they've done a wonderful job in a short amount of time down there.
Go check it out.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Stan?
I think the interesting thing is going to be when you look at this in relationship also to Riverwalk across the river. And there's been rumblings about putting in a water taxi possibly because of all this. So it sounds like you might be able to accommodate that with the dock space you have right now.
Right.
It would just be drop-offs and
That's something
back and
we'll
forth.
certainly look at, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's going to help the Two Jerks guys too, because it sounds like the place that's under construction is going to need a little bit of fish. So,
I went to that back when it was Gardeners in early 50s.
there you go.
You're showing your age, Pete.
I'm old, I'm not that old.
Still at it.
No, this looks like a great project, and like everybody said, it's really raising the game at that part of the city, and it's exciting. So yeah, looks good.
Tom?
I love the project. I think it's a great area. I had my biggest concern was traffic and parking, and I didn't appreciate the concept of seasonal parking. Penny and I, or Tim and I, had a conversation about this, and Penny had given us some feedback because I don't believe the calculations, and I don't believe numbers out of the book agree with reality that often. So that's my big concern. But she assured me, Tim assured me, that there would be no problem with parking down there ever.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Ever again.
That anytime I go down there, no matter what time it is on a Friday afternoon, in the busiest season, Tim said I'll have a space available.
Did you get that in writing from Tim?
You know.
You can park at my house and bike there from there. How about that? Yeah.
Oh, so you hear that? We're parking at his
That's it,
house every time we
absolutely.
go.
Tim did say something about having to Uber in, so maybe that's what I misunderstood. But thank you very much. I appreciate all the work you've done.
It's our
on this. I
pleasure.
think it'll be a great project.
We're excited to come into Port Orange. We really are.
You should move here.
We should.
You.
I know. We want to. Well, believe me. I live in an 800 square foot house. We don't want to be there forever. Believe me.
You know a couple of good builders if you need to.
You watch it. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you got any questions?
No, just a couple of comments. All of us have been down there. We've also been down to New Smyrna and, in that shopping area. We need something like that in our area to complement Riverwalk and everything else that we're doing here. And the water taxi thing, maybe you can park on the west side of the bridge and shuttle people over. That would be part of the, the experience as well. But I think it's really, it's really an improvement in the area, and I think it's the beginning of something that's really going to be fantastic down there eventually.
Excellent. Thank you.
Maria?
I just wanted to say I am a chef, so some of these guys can probably attest to the fact that I'm a major food snob, and you're one of my favorite places to eat.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm
our
super
corporate chef is right back there, Chef Trent. So.
Nice. I'm super excited you're finally coming to the best city there is. And I know you guys make everything from scratch and fresh, and with all the changes in Port Orange, we really need that. So I'm super excited.
Excellent.
Good. Well, the word exciting is a common word with all of us. It is exciting because it's perfect timing. I mean, what you're having now, you're coming in just at the groundbreaking of all the exciting projects that are happening in that general area. And it's attracting more people. This is going to be, in the very near future, quite an exciting local place to go to.
Big time destination.
So, I mean, the timing is good. It's exciting to do this. It is a hot spot. It's going to be a hotter spot with people like you coming in here, recognizing this and working with wonderful local engineers to get this thing working. We're pretty psyched up about this too. I mean, I'm in there a lot. In there. I was last week I was eating at Jimmy Hula's, and now I'm going to be coming over there. So It is exciting, and again, personally, want to thank the staff because your comparisons charts helped quite a lot in this, because you were able to take the time and pluck out all those scenarios for us to better evaluate the past restaurants that had that. So my compliments to our staff for putting such a good presentation on this. Makes it much easier for me.
Lot
But
of work
again,
there.
I'm pretty excited about this, so we all are. At this time, do we have anyone from the public that would like to come up and talk in regards to this case? No? Okay. You guys, great job. Thank you.
Thanks.
I would
Thank
like to just put on the record that when we had a staff meeting, I told Tim and Penny that our office would put together a plan for the parking under the bridge to help get, they said what they needed was funding. I said, well, we'll do you a favor and we'll put together, you know, we do a lot of that just from aerial data, and so of course you don't have any aerial under the bridge, but so maybe we can get something going. They've got a grand vision for what's going to happen
Yeah,
under there, so it'd be
it
nice to see that
definitely
happen, too.
has great potential.
Yeah.
Great potential. Very exciting.
Thank you all.
All right, nobody from the public. Well, I would
Thank
like
you.
to hear a motion for case number 21-90000008.
So moved?
Second?
The second. Roll call, please.
Maria Mills Bonet.
Yes.
Bill Bothamy.
Yes?
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes?
Newton White.
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Thumbs up.
Chair John Junko.
Yes. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you guys.
Thank you.
All right. With other business, we have commissioner comments. I'm going to leave you last and let you stir things up there, Lance. So go with Maria.
I don't think I have anything.
All right. Bo?
No, I think you heard enough from me.
Tom?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Stan?
Nothing here.
Newton?
I'm good.
The one and only.
I have a whole laundry list.
Time's up.
But I'm gonna let him ride till next month.
Oh, nice.
What's up,
Yeah.
Lance? You got anything?
No, I'm good.
He's
No?
good.
The only thing I would like to say is, since I have this time, I do want to make a note for the people watching us on POG. I believe we have Port Orange Family Days event going on this week, Thursday,
Yep.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Go online, check them out. A wonderful time to bring the families, carnivals, food, entertainment shows. So again, definitely check out Port Orange Community Trust World Family Days event for this week. Do we have any staff comments? No? Any public comments? This has been a very smooth meeting.
I
All right,
like
well,
it
with that being said, I'd like to adjourn our meeting.
So
Have a
moved.
great evening.
Woo woo.